Hey everyone, welcome. So, right before the year wraps up, Azure went and dropped one last big set of updates. And honestly, they're all about making our lives in tech just a little bit easier. We're going to break down how these new tools could seriously change the way you build, secure, and manage your apps. Okay, let's get into it. You know, if you've ever worked in tech, this one hits close to home, right? It is the golden rule, especially around the holidays. It's behind every production freeze, and it even ended up in this really funny Azure Christmas song that was in the source for this explainer. It's just a great reminder of a very, very real anxiety.
But okay, what if you could deploy on a Friday without that feeling of dread? What if the tools were just so smart and so resilient that the unexpected wasn't a catastrophe? Well, that's kind of the promise behind this whole update. So let's see what features Azure is rolling out to make our systems smarter and maybe, just maybe, our weekends a little safer.
First up, let's talk serverless. We all know Azure Functions are the absolute workhorses for a ton of modern apps, and now they're getting a really big upgrade in how they talk to and react to everything around them.
All right, so just a super quick refresher so we're all on the same page. Azure Functions are basically these little pieces of code that are driven by events. Something happens, a new message hits a queue, and boom, your code just wakes up, does its job, and goes right back to sleep. The real magic is in how it connects to other services, and that is exactly where our first update comes into play.
Okay, if you're a Node.js developer, listen up because this is a huge deal for working with Service Bus. See, before, your function could pretty much only see the message itself. That's it. But now, with this new SDK-type binding, it can access the entire messaging context. Think about what that means. You could peek at other messages in the queue, or dead letter a message without a bunch of extra complicated code. This really opens up the door to some much more advanced and resilient messaging patterns.
Smarter code is fantastic, but it's not much good without smarter data to work with. And that brings us right to our next batch of updates, which are all about how we store, protect, and move our data, and doing it with more intelligence and resilience than we've ever had before. So Azure NetApp Files, that awesome high-performance storage service, is now giving you some serious flexibility for disaster recovery. Before, you got one replication relationship. Now you can have two. And you can see the options here. You can mix and match. You can go from one zone to another and at the same time replicate to a completely different region. Or have two separate regional replications. It's totally your call, so you can build exactly the resilient strategy you need.
This next one, wow. It's like having a security guard for your data that literally never sleeps. Azure's new ransomware protection for NetApp Files is always learning what's normal for your storage. And the second it sees something fishy, like, say, a huge number of files suddenly getting encrypted, it doesn't wait around. It instantly, automatically takes a secure snapshot of your data before the damage can spread, and it immediately alerts you. This is proactive security, and it's awesome.
But, before you go and flip this switch for everything, here's the fine print. It is in preview, and for now, it's only for new volumes you create. And while there's no extra line item on your bill for it, you do need to keep an eye on your capacity. The good news is you've got full control to pause and resume it whenever you need. It's a powerful tool for sure, but one you'll want to plan for.
All right, security is one thing, but what about the sheer headache of just moving data? I mean, anyone who's had to migrate terabytes of data from one place to another knows the pain. Well, Azure has a new solution for that too.
The Azure Storage Mover now handles blob-to-blob migrations, and the magic word here is agentless. Let me say that again, agentless. You don't have to spin up and manage a bunch of virtual machines to do the heavy lifting anymore. It all just happens on Azure's own backend fabric, which makes it incredibly fast and scalable. Moving data between containers, across subscriptions, or even across the globe just got way, way easier.
And when I say scalable, get ready for this number. A single migration job can handle up to 500 million objects. Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. This isn't for moving a couple of vacation photos. This is for massive, enterprise-grade data relocation projects that have now been made dramatically simpler.
So your data is safe, it's moved, now you have to actually manage it. And that's where these next database updates come in. This time, the big focus is on giving you way more visibility into what your databases are doing, and more importantly, why they're doing it.
Let's be real. If you use Azure SQL Database Serverless, you have probably run into this mystery. You love that it can pause itself to save you money, but then you look at your bill and realize it's been waking up when you didn't expect it to. But why?
Well, mystery solved. Azure is now giving us auto-resume telemetry. The exact reason your database woke up
whether it was some management task or just an incoming user connection, is now written directly to the activity log. This is huge. It means you can finally track down that weird behavior and get your costs back under control.
And for all you Cosmos DB users, Azure is basically giving you your own personal performance coach. This tool is now integrated with Cosmos DB, and it analyzes how you're using it and gives you these specific, actionable recommendations on how to improve performance, cut costs, and beef up your security. It's really like having a database expert on your team 24/7. All right, and finally, let's get to the really cool stuff, the most forward-looking updates in Azure AI. The models are getting way more capable for both things you can see and things you can hear.
So the new GPT Image 1.5 model is here, and this table really tells the whole story. It is just so much better at understanding exactly what you're asking for in your prompt. The images it generates are sharper, and where it really shines is in modifying an existing image. It is significantly better. The results are just plain more accurate and higher quality all around.
And it's not just about what you can see, it's about what you can hear. Voice AI is getting a major boost too. There's a new real-time mini model designed for things where every millisecond counts, like a customer service bot. The new transcription model is incredibly accurate for turning speech into text in real time. And the text-to-speech model sounds more natural across a whole bunch of different languages. So when you take a step back and look at all of this stuff together, a really clear picture starts to form, right? Azure is pushing hard for more intelligent automation in things like functions and data migration. They're layering on this proactive, smart security, and they're making some of the most powerful AI on the planet more accessible for all of us.
And that brings us to the final question. These aren't just features. They really feel like a step toward a much smarter, much more automated cloud. So as you start planning for next year, think about it. Which one of these new capabilities could have the biggest impact on how you work? Which one are you going to dig into first? Thanks so much for joining us for this quick rundown.